क्या आपके साथ ऐसा होता है कि तब आप कुछ बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं लेकिन you don't get the right words to express what you're trying to say, and therefore you end up choosing the wrong word and are kind of demotivated to speak more and more English? Well, today in this video I am going to provide you the solution to this problem, and it is how to build your vocabulary effectively, that you are able to use the words that you learn and consume all day long or in the process of learning well at the right place. Let's begin. So in this video, before we begin, let me just tell you that how we are going to proceed with this video further. So first I'll be telling you that how do you build your vocabulary. So basically we are going to discuss the steps which you need to follow while learning all your vocabulary so that it is effectively stored in your memory here and also used effectively, and later we are going to understand it with an example so that you understand it better. Let's begin. Also, a quick reminder, I know many people are struggling with building their vocabulary. So before we proceed with this video, please make sure that you share this video with as many people as you can so that not just you but others are also benefited. Okay, so here are the 5 steps that you need to follow to build your vocabulary. The first step is find the word. The second step is build your pronunciation. Third, look for existing examples. Fourth, make your own example. And the fifth, very important, use the word intentionally. Now let us discuss all of them one by one in great detail and learn the importance of all of these steps that you just cannot miss. The first point that I said, that is collect the words. अब collect the words का मतलब क्या है? Do I just make a long list of all the words I find anywhere and everywhere? No, that's not true, because if you do this, trust me, you're not ever going to complete the first step and also never ever going to move to the second step, therefore. So what you need to do is, by collecting the words, what I mean is, for example, you were talking to somebody who is an English speaker or who speaks English once in a while or whatever. Basically, you are in conversation with somebody and they use a word and you didn't understand it. Make sure that you note down that word. Or for example, you're reading something and you find that, oh, I don't know what this word is, I've never heard it before, or maybe I don't know the meaning, or maybe I like this word and therefore I would like to use this word. Note down that word. Or the other way is, when you are watching movies, TV series, or maybe news debates and everything, I'm very sure these are the things that you do which interest you. These are the topics you are interested in. You talk about them later with your friends. Basically, that is a set of vocabulary that is very much part of your own life, right? Because you are also then talking about those topics further to other people around you in your life. So when you find somebody using a nice interesting word or a phrase or a phrasal verb or anything for that instance, you note that down, and I'm very sure they're not going to be many. Just start with 1 or 2 in a week. I think that is a good start. Don't overburden yourself. Write down that word. Make sure that you write it down. Yeah, I think the first step is very, very clear, and the first step has sub parts to it. Now, do you think that just writing down the word is enough? No, I don't think it is enough. For example, you are watching a movie, okay, and there is a idiom that is used there, a cup of joe. Yeah, and there is a video I've made about this. You can watch it, I'll put it here. A cup of joe, for example, I was watching a TV series and this phrase was used there, this idiom was used there. So I know the context that this idiom was used by Rajesh when he was asking Sheldon to, go get some coffee. I knew the context because that was the time they were going out, and then I watched in the scene that they went out to get some coffee, or maybe Sheldon replied, "No, I'm in no mood for coffee." I understand the context a bit, that where it was used, right? That is very, very important. We will also understand it with another example that we are going to take up and look into all the steps with that particular example. So this is how you have to do it. You need to know the context. You put down the word and you observe it, how and where that person used it. So this is the first step. The second step is very, very essential. I cannot emphasize on this much. It is very essential. For example, क्या आपके साथ ऐसा होता है, तब आप बोल रहे होते हैं, यू नो द वर्ड, यू नो द मीनिंग, आपको सब पता है, पर आपको हेजिटेशन होती है उसको बोलने में, क्योंकि आपको उसे कैसे सही से प्रोनाउंस करते हैं वो नहीं पता है. एंड डिस्पाइट नोइंग एवरीथिंग अबाउट द वर्ड, you end up not using it. Is it of any use that you know everything but then you're not using it? Ultimately that word is not part of your active vocabulary. So pronunciation is very, very, very important. Please note it down. So after you hear the word, if you note it down, make sure that you say it over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And yes, for example, the word is a cup of joe. So you over and over say it, a cup of joe, a cup of joe, a cup of joe, a cup of joe. Say it over and over again. Just listen to the right pronunciation through Google or any app that you have. Make sure it is the right and verified version, whatever it is. Google, I would say it would be the best option, or maybe the Cambridge Dictionary or anything like that. And practice your pronunciation, not in your head but outright, very loudly, like really loud. Okay. And I would suggest you stand in front of the mirror and speak it loudly and clearly. At least that helps me gain confidence, and it has helped many other students to do it. And it's also interesting that you look into the mirror and you're just saying it, so it is kind of interactive, and yeah, it makes it a bit fun. So this is the second step, and let's move to the third step now. That is to find an existing example. How do I do that? So for example, the idiom is a cup of joe. So I type that in Google, okay, and there'll be many sentences that will come up which use this idiom, and I'll read them and I'll say them out loud. Yeah, I'll read them and I'll say them out loud. That is how I know that in this particular sentence, this idiom is being used, and I get some idea that how can I use it, which leads us to the next step. That is that create your own example. Now, don't look at the word, just keep it away, take a fresh sheet and write your own example. I know it is going to be a struggle. You might take some time to come up with your own example, but trust me, don't give up in this step because you have already come a long way. And the fact that you are struggling with it so much will, just print that word or the idiom or the phrase in your head like for a very long time, or should I say permanently. And ultimately you are going to come up with one example of your own, and make sure that you have used it right. So for this, I think a teacher around you is very important, who is good in English. A teacher is obviously of English, or somebody who is good in English. You show them that sentence and they let you know if that sentence is right or not. Because at times you might use the word, but the usage of the word is not done in the right place, right? So we need to understand that the word is used in the right place. So you want somebody who can check that for you. So therefore, I think classes become bit important there, but you can also manage that by showing it to people around you who are pretty good in English. Yeah. Now let us come to the last step of building the vocabulary. How do we do that? Um, as you read it, it says that use the word intentionally, or I could say use the word forcefully on purpose. Okay, what do I mean by that? So, for example, now you have written the example, you know the meaning, you know the context, you know how to say it, you have read so many examples written by others, which are obviously right, and you have also written your own example, you have got it checked that you have used it right. Now, language is not just to be on paper, right? You're learning vocabulary so that you're able to use it even when you're speaking in your everyday life, right? So make sure that there are two ways to do it, okay? One way is that when you're having conversations with other real people in your life, like conversations which are happening outright, you use that word on purpose, like somehow manipulate the conversation in a way that you are able to use that word. You don't have to like show that up to the other person that you're trying to do that, but you can of course do that. For example, you're talking about something, anything random, okay, and you just and you have to use this word, for example, a cup of joe, okay. So you could just say, oh yeah, I really enjoyed my cup of joe. Just say this, just say it and move on with whatever you are talking, and that would be fine. Yeah, somehow you have to use it, because of course it is making sense here that you explain that you enjoyed your coffee. So yeah, also make sure that it makes sense. Therefore you have to manipulate the existing conversation so that you are able to use it. And the second way to do it is that if by chance you are not good at manipulating the conversation, or you feel it is too much to do, because I'm very sure it is too much for some people, and it can be pretty difficult because it has to be done instantly, and if you're in the learning process, like very new in the beginning, it might be a struggle. So another way could be that after you have done all of those steps, you have a conversation with yourself. That conversation could be in front of a mirror out loud, or without a mirror out loud, or just a proper conversation in your head. Yeah, where for example, I'm very sure most of us do it, where we assume, oh, I'm going to go there and my friend is going to say that, I'm going to say that. So just build any conversation where you are going to use that phrase or the word or the idiom, whatever. Yeah, and it might sound a bit weird, but trust me, it works when you are trying to create your own scene and you are trying to use this word. And yeah, I think that is using the word on purpose and it will work in your favor. But however, I would say that even if you choose to do the second step, make sure that after that, at some point at least, you are able to use it in like real life conversations with random people. Yeah, because that is the ultimate goal of building vocabulary, that you're able to do that. But of course you can begin with your self talks in your head or out loud, but with yourself, and then later move on to talking with other people. Both the things work. I hope this was helpful, and the steps in which you have to learn the vocabulary are pretty clear. If you have any doubts in any of those steps, you can definitely ask me in the comment section below, or you can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram ID is sure put down in the description, and do check that out. There are a lot of content, very useful content out there, and yeah, it will help you get better at English. Now let us take the example and understand these steps better. I'll begin with a story because a context is very, very important. So make sure that you listen to it very carefully, because this is going to help you just copy this process with other words and vocabulary that you're trying to learn. Let's begin. So I remember one of my classmates from my school, and whenever I used to talk to her, or whenever others in my class used to talk to her, very often or almost all the time, she used to talk about the expensive shoes she had, or the bag she got just yesterday, and how expensive was she, and then how she used to compare that the others around don't have that, and oh my god, she got a very cool top or anything like that. Yeah. And so what do we call a person, it is a question for you, who is constantly like trying to talk about how much of what money or something, anything they have, and are putting it out on your face, that oh, I have this, I have that, and they just cannot stop talking about what they have done or what they possess or anything like that. What do we call what this person is doing? Do you know the word for it? If you know, pause this video and put the word down in the comment sections below. And for those who don't know, the word is called bragging. Yeah, when somebody is trying to just show off their money or their qualities, their intelligence, their skills, like really show off, like talking about it a lot and making others feel like really uncomfortable and bad, the person is bragging. Yeah. So now we know the word is bragging. The second step is that we need to practice the pronunciation for this word. Let's do that. Bragging, 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 bragging. Look at how my face is moving, my mouth is moving, and you can copy that. Let's say it multiple times. Bragging, 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 bragging. I'm sure that you are also saying this. If not, go back, say it along with me and practice it. Great. Now let us move to the third step. Move to the third step only when you are completed with the second step. I'm very serious about this. I'm saying this again. Pronunciation is very, very important. Very important. Yeah. Let's move to the third step. The third step is that I look for the existing examples. We can Google it. As I said, just write sentences with bragging on Google, and you might find quite a lot of sentences. One of the sentences that I found was, she is bragging a lot about her golf game. Yeah, somebody who's trying to show off maybe a golf game that they won, or how they one time went to play golf, because it's quite unusual. Maybe very few people play golf, right? So some people brag about it. Yeah, tell me if you also relate to this. And you can also read multiple examples, not just one sentence. Let us move to the fourth step, that is create your own example. Please take your pen and paper and make your own sentence with bragging. I'll be waiting. I'll not be doing that. It is the work for you. Pause this video till the time you don't write this sentence. And now let us move to the the fifth point, where we have to intentionally use the term bragging. For example, we are talking here and we are talking about, oh my god, I don't know how to speak English, I'm very bad at it, my vocabulary is also very poor, yeah, I would like to learn and all of that. Suppose you're having this conversation with somebody, then you can just put this term in this conversation, as I said, manipulate it, okay? Oh, yeah, you know what? I have a classmate who is very good in English, but trust me, she's bragging about it all the time. I mean, if somebody even doesn't understand English, she makes sure that she intentionally uses it, and she's like, oh, I know English, I'm so good, and all of that. She's constantly bragging about how good she is in English. Yeah, there you got it. I think you understood that how do we manipulate the conversation, and I hope the example was fine, though it would not have been very natural as we are not talking right now, but it was just an example. I hope you understood it. I hope this was a helpful video and you learned something new from this. And from now on, you're going to follow this process to build your vocabulary, and let me know if this process works for you. Come back to this video and put it down in the comment section below, or you can slide a DM on my Instagram. I would love to know how I could help you build your vocabulary and get better at your English. Until we meet next time, take it easy.